Go.
Luka Nation, we got a special guest for you today, right? Special guest is the CEO of Cardboard Gold, right? And we were contemplating, do we put this out today? We just spoke to him. Do we put this out today? Do we put it out another day? When are we gonna release this episode? And we said, everybody's gonna have a take on PSA. Andrew can give you his take right now. I'll give you my 30 seconds, but we wanted to bring you this episode because it's someone who works with PSA and his take on what's going on with the PSA pricing changes, the shutdown, and you name it. It's a perspective you're not going to be able to hear from anyone else. No one posting on Instagram or Twitter, nobody in a podcast. Everybody will take it from their own perspective, but here is legit CEO of a business who's going to tell you what his thoughts are about PSA. And a little spoiler alert, he's not concerned. Andrew, what do you think?
What stuck out for me from the episode,
or your take on PSA? Or your take.
I think we're an overreact culture in just about every direction you could look at it. It applies to. I mean, you see it all the time on social media, and 20 years ago, you have a thought, you get a little bit, or something happens, you get upset, but you have some time to cool down. Now we're in such a react culture. We see something and then we react instantly. So we're seeing that with PSA. I think it's a little bit frustrating for people who have built their businesses on the rip, grade, flip strategy, but you have to adapt. What stuck out for me as an aspiring entrepreneur is how focused Jack is on doing what Jack does well. Like, to me, that's the number one thing. And I've talked about it quite a bit, and it's not easy. It's a daily practice. But for example, as you're coming up in the hobby, it's very easy to compare your collection to other people's collections, right? But what I've heard from Jack is that he stays in his lane. He's incredibly focused on delivering quality and value to his customers through and through. He doesn't worry about what other businesses are doing, what other companies are doing, what developments are happening in the hobby, whether Prism design looks nice or not. He's focused on delivering value to his customer. And for aspiring entrepreneurs, someone who really cares about the Luka Nation community, that was inspiring to me, knowing that, hey, if we just deliver a good quality podcast to our Luka Nation community day after day after day after day, the chips will fall where they in our favor. And I think that's empowering. That gives me a lot of confidence as someone who I believe in myself. I believe in Cage. I believe in the team behind us, in that we're able to do really, really big things, but I've never done it before. Right. So that gave me confidence. That's where I went with the Cage.
Yeah, I like it. As far as you can murder that child, when we're done here. I don't know what you got.
You're insane. But, dude.
Well, you got a kid screaming. I don't know what to do.
Paint the right picture. We've made. My friend has been here for one day. I've been here for 3, and we've made friends in this little community that we're living in with a pool. And it's like a little apartment complexes all around, and we made friends. No one's getting hurt. We're actually having fun, and we're laughing and playing pool games. Chicken. Have you ever played the game Chicken, where there's like you're
no,
fighting
I'm not
in the
a
pool?
chicken. I'm the opposite of a chicken. I never played chicken.
Well, it's when you're in the pool and someone sits on your shoulders and you kind of like wrestle.
Are you talking about chicken fights? Because there's a song. How's that go, pal?
What?
Chicken. Chicken fights. When the sun is on his dad, and it's all right. American Dad? No, not hitting home. Okay. Well, my take on PSA, while Andrew goes and murders children in Mexico, is we'll see what happens.
You have no boundaries.
This is true. This is very true. And Luka Nation loves it. They love every minute of it. He's not murdering children, folks. At least not that I know of.
I'm looking across the pool and everyone's smiling and having a blast.
How dare they? How dare they have a blast? How dare they have fun? It's raining here. You would love it. So I am a proud dad today because we're doing a Star Wars marathon. We did a little Star Wars and we're up to Empire Strikes Back, and he is building a Lego ADOT right now. So I'm a happy camper. But listen, we just wanted to jump on and give this a little pre-5 minute. I don't like PSA, but I don't like any kind of change, especially when you build a routine. And I think it's part of the pushback that people are giving right now on PSA shutdown. They didn't give any kind of notice, they didn't give any kind of warning, and they had to, because last time they gave notice on price increases, they got like millions of cards in a week. So if their real goal was to get on top of their backlog, giving people a warning, we're going to be shutting down, all that would have done is doubled the backlog. So I get it, I understand. We'll see what happens. That's all I'm going to say. But it is important that we come on here, we chat about it, and we're giving you a perspective from somebody who, I was amazed that this is somebody who has made money and a life for himself and his family on the cardboard industry and how little he is involved in the actual cardboard. So enjoy, guys.
Last thing.
Why?
You know,
See, look, are you torturing them? What are you doing over there?
I think that one thing that frustrates people more than any of the actual decisions that PSA's made is the lack of transparency with grading companies. They say one thing and do the other. And I think that kind of frustrates people. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah.
They always feel very PR-y. They feel very 1990s in the way that they do business. There's no personality. It doesn't feel like they care about their customers. It wasn't like, hey, we know we just raised prices. We don't want to let you down. Our plan is to catch up on the backlog and then open things up and really, really, really be a part of the growth of the hobby. You know what I mean? It feels very us versus them. And I think that's what strikes people the wrong way. And I'm with it. From a customer perspective, I'm like, I don't care about the fact that you're closing down submissions to July. I care about how you are communicating.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like you care about us. And we're the ones that are paying your bills.
Yeah, and the last word on it though is take it like everything else. We spent some time last week talking about like charts and how the market's not tanking if you look at the chart from a longer perspective, but if you look at it from the last month or two, it looks like the market's collapsing. It's the same thing with this. This is going to be a 3-month blip on the radar. When you look at this a year from now, and be like, hey, remember when PSA shut down? Yeah, okay. Well, it didn't. The whole collecting world didn't come tumbling down on its head because of that. So, just take a look at things with a little more of a longer view. And yeah, enjoy this episode with Jack, our friend Jack, the CEO of Cardboard Gold.
Yep. Incredibly excited for today's episode. Today's episode, we have a guest who is the CEO of Cardboard Gold. His name's Jack Mays. And as I was doing some research on Jack, I learned something super interesting. I learned that he started this company in 1985 when he was just 19 years old. And he actually dropped out of college to do so. And I believe he was in the process actually later of going back and getting his degree. So all of you out there listening, we're not saying go drop out of college, start a business, and become multimillionaires overnight. But I'm really excited for today's conversation because Cardboard Gold is the staple. It's the #1 brand of card supplies in the world right now. And I want to hear Jack's story about how he started it, how he went through some growing pains, in the 90s with the junk wax era, and how he's growing it now, and so much more. Because, with PSA and all of the things that are going on in the hobby, this conversation couldn't be more relevant than ever. Jack, welcome to the Luka Nation show. It's really, really good to have you here.
I'm honored to be here. And you're kissing butt because Ultra Pro is the biggest brand in the country for supplies.
He doesn't say that name. He doesn't say that name. He doesn't like them. He doesn't have the relationship with Ultra Pro. He doesn't use them.
No,
Cardboard Gold is it.
Our supplies are better, but they're bigger.
He's been known to do that. He's been known to kiss a little butt. It is what it is. It's part of the host's job. I mean, he's got to go through. He's got to go through your bio. And listen, I didn't research Jack because I know that Andrew is like a Cardboard Gold consumer user. Like I'll get a text on a random Tuesday, and he's like, "Get on tomorrow morning. I will text you at 10:59. This is when they're on. You need to buy these because they're gonna sell out." And then I'll do it most of the time, but every once in a while I'll forget, and he'll be like, "It's 11 minutes. They're sold out. I hope you got them, you idiot." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So trust me, he loves the brand. He loves what you're doing. And I don't think he's ever texted me about Ultra Pro or any other company out there. But listen,
Ultra Pro is boring. They're
there you go. So I mean, they're not gold. They're pro, but they're not gold. But
they're silver or bronze or whatever.
There we go. See, so what I like is that a lot of our audience are go-getters. They're entrepreneurs. They're kids thinking what they're going to do, flipping, you name it. So it's a cool little note there. I didn't know this because I didn't research Jack. Dropped out of college to do this. That's pretty cool because that was not in vogue. That was not the thing to do in the 90s like it is now. Now, every influencer tells you to go F your parents, tell your parents to F off, and tell college that, the degree you're going to get is going to line a bird cage one day and you throw out the bird shit with it. But back then that was not cool. I mean, in 95, I was in college in '95. I wasn't dropping out of college.
Talking 95. We're talking the 80s.
The 80s. Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh my God! See, so I mean, that's. I mean, if I was going to start a business, it would have been a beer business in college. That was like the only thing I was into in college. It wasn't cardboard gold, let me tell you. But listen, good on you, man, because clearly the stuff sells out faster than it can be. So, Andrew, you want to take it back to the beginnings? You want to take it back before the last couple of year boom? I mean, how do you want to go, man?
I would love to hear the origin story. I would love to hear why at 19 you decided to start it.
Well, first thing is I started doing shows to make beer money, as Matt said. So we got something in common. No shit. That's why I started it. But it was an accident. So my buddy, my best friend in high school, went to Berkeley, and he went to the national convention in Anaheim in, I guess that was August '85, and told me that cards were a big deal, and I had some cards from my grandfather. And then I went to a show later that year, and it just, I don't know, I just saw that it could become a business. I didn't do very well selling the cards. I had no money. And then December is when it really started going. I did the Pete Rose show, which the late, great Randy Thyberg promoted, which was a long time ago, so you wouldn't have known Randy. But he had Pete Rose at his show at the LAX Hilton in December of '85, right after he broke the hit record. And the place got shut down by the fire department because there were so many people trying to get into the hotel. It was absolutely incredible. And that's when I knew that it could become a business. And that's when it started. And I started just doing shows the first 2-3 years, advertising the publications like Sports Collectors Digest. And then from there, I borrowed money from my mom to get going. Started doing supplies because with supplies, I figured out that I could get net 30 turns and sell a lot more stuff because I had no money. So you couldn't, go buy, $20,000 worth of cards and go sell them and try to make some money. And then Cardboard Gold was started as a brand of supplies in '86. Card Saver I brought out in '87. So it's been a long time that holder's been out. It's been out longer than any holder in the business by far. And the rest is kind of history. It's gone up and down the last 35 years, and now it is on fire.
So, Jack, part of the reason people listen to me, right? Part of the reason people like our stuff, Andrew brings this awesome, millennial type of perspective to it, right? He's gonna look. He's got the toast out. He's spreading the avocado on it while we talk, and but people, they like hearing that, from folks who have been through it, the ups and the downs. And you just touched on it. And this would be my biggest question for you, right? And I'm going to lead it, and I'm going to let you go, right? A lot of people in this hobby, let's call it 75% of the people who are in this now have just got in it, right? They're in it the last couple of years, right? If you were in 2018, you're like an OG of this game right now compared to what's going on, right? So, and that's great, and I expect it to grow. But I was through the last junk wax era, and obviously you were as well. And it sounds like you were starting your business right as a boom was happening, right? The 80s were huge. Griffey came, 87 Tops was like the first, set that I got into, with the wood border. And then, all the companies were coming out. The, 88, you got Score that added to the game. Flair and Dunruss had been in for a couple of years. 89, you got Upper Deck who came into the game. Then Tops branched out into, Bowman. And then you had like a million different releases. And it's kind of like what you're seeing with Panini today, right? It's they're expanding a release. It's like a release every 4 days, and there's a lot of similarity to when you started your business to what we have now. This insane boom and growth, and no one can keep up with it. PSA yesterday, we'll talk about that in a separate part of this and the impact on the supplies. But they shut it down. They can't even take cards in, right? I mean, it's such a boom. But you remember what happened after the boom, and it was a bust. So can you talk about riding that roller coaster, from a company like yours that is, I don't want to say dependent on the highs, how, talk me through it. Talk me through the late 80s, the early 90s, the swings, then PSA and grading coming into the equation, because there are people out there who are worried. This is a question I'm starting to get as prices come down a little bit and people get a little worried. They say, is this a bubble? Is this the next junk era? Are we facing a down swipe? So it's a long ass question. I'm known for those, but I'm going to let you go now, Jack. So
Well, okay, PSA started in 1991. People forget about that. They almost didn't make it. They were grading coins, not cards. Nobody wanted to have their cards graded. And keep in mind, you guys, I know nothing about cards. Nothing. I've never collected cards. I never will. I don't understand why people collect cardboard.
Is that because you got turned off? You brought your grandpa's cards to a show in the '80s, and no one wanted to buy them. And you said, "The hell with all you bastards!"
3 or some shit. So, that wasn't so good. But no, when I started in the '80s, we were really small. But the way that we grew exponentially, we were in the Inc. 500 in '91 and '92. And to give you an idea, in '86, I did like $250,000 in sales for the whole year. That's mostly supplies and cards too. In 1991, we did $11 million in sales. And, most of that was supplies. We were never super big into cards, although we did do a lot of wholesaling and stuff. Right now, I don't have a clue in the world if this is a bubble or if it's the start of something that's going to have legs and keep going. I know from every one of my contacts in the industry that they think this is long term. And there is so much money and smart money getting into this business, into this industry. Back in the 90s, it was dumb money. Now it really is. It's people that know what they're doing. Sports, plus there's so much bent up sports, enthusiasm to get back into the stadiums and such. But and the internet, and there is a thing called the internet.
Yeah, which didn't exist back then, right?
Got it. Yeah, we used to take phone orders. Now I sell all my crap on the website. I don't answer the phone because I can't. There's 50 calls, and I'm not hiring anybody. So my kids are already on the payroll. It's bad enough as it is.
Andrew will promise to stop calling. That's 48 of the 50.
I want my card savers. I'm curious. You brought the card saver out. You said in '86, I believe, or 80, 89. I can't remember the date, but why would you bring out the card saver? Yes, it is my favorite, cardboard gold. Why would you bring that out if there was no grading? Wouldn't top loaders and penny sleeves be the way to store cards, or were card savers actually the way to store cards in the past?
Card savers got huge in the 1990 because they're easier to put the card in than a top loader. I still to this day don't understand why people like top loaders. And we're huge in top loaders too. We're top 3 in the world. And with the card saver, you have the lip. And so it became big for the grading. But remember, the grading's only, as Matt said, the grading's gotten big in the last 2-3 years. 5 years ago, nobody cared about grading. It was a thing, but 10 years ago, nobody gave a shit about it. Now it's PSA took down the Newport Beach post office. So much stuff came in, post office shut down. Think about that.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it really is.
Through what snowstorms are supposed to deliver and stuff. No. When you put PSA into the equation, they can't deliver.
Yep. Through rain, sleet, or snow, just not PSA.
Yeah, just not PSA. Not getting your cards graded a 10 and getting your Michael Jordan sold for $1 million.
One day. Well, that's amazing because you get somebody on who's tied to the hobby, and yet after all this time and after all these sales and millions of dollars, and it's contingent upon cardboard, you will say, "I don't get it. I don't understand why people buy cards." That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It is exciting. We're all laughing. It is. Okay, so here's my pack.
Yep.
The only reason I have this pack, I have 2 boxes because they just came in from my factory. We're changing the packaging. If Andrew sees it, he'll notice that it's not wrapped up like a little 4th grader did it. It's automated, done by a robot. And so you're the first to know.
There we go.
Yeah. So.
I think we should shine a little light. Congratulations. So, and maybe I word this wrong, but Cardboard Gold, the company, is the trusted source of card supplies per PSA, right? That was a partnership that you guys just reached in the last few months.
We have a promotional partnership with PSA that we signed the first year, and being affiliated with PSA is just awesome because they're by far the number 1 brand of grading. And from what I'm seeing in the industry, even though they're catching a lot of flack just because they're so busy, it's a good problem to have. It's like card savers selling out in 3.5 minutes. It's a pain in the ass to deal with it, but it's a good problem. And then with PSA, they have a lot of plans to grow, and them in the hobby is the best thing that happens going forward, because they've got a lot of really, really good, smart people there, and they're into it for the long term. And that's what
Andrew, if I'm allowed to, let me ask Jack that, right? Because today there's going to be a lot of people talking about PSA, and they're going to come at it from the same angle. They're going to come at it from card collectors. They're going to come at it as, wow, I can't believe they're screwing over the little man. Or they're going to come at it from the elite side and say, PSA needed to do this. What a great move. They're going to clear their backlog. I can still send them my cards because I collect in the upper echelon of cards, so I can still send them a card for $300. You're going to hear every side of that equation. But you know, Jack, we're lucky to have you on, because you're going to come at it from two different ends. Number one, your business kind of sort of follows grading. People buy your product to use it to send into grading, and now for 3 months they're not going to be sending stuff in. So the first part is going to be, how does that impact you? How does PSA's decision, impact you? What are your thoughts on it? Is it I'm willing to take that small, bite for long-term, longevity and prosperity? And then B, part of this, and I think the more important part is, you work with them. You have some insight into the team. I'm not giving away, the government secrets here, but you have some insight into the team here. Do you think this move, it's based on, rational thought process, and it may be a hiccup, a little speed bump in a long road of success?
I don't, in 2 or 3 years, we're going to look back on this and this will be no big deal. They need just a month or two to catch up, catch their breath. The place is completely overwhelmed. And they'll get it figured out because they know what's going on. But see, for me, the card saver, there's this little company called eBay. And all these guys and gals that sell on eBay use the card saver now to ship their cards because it's flat, unlike a top loader. It's cheaper, actually, depending. And they can put like 4 or 5 cards into an envelope and send it out for less than $1. So our business isn't dependent just on PSA. We make a complete line of supplies, and the card saver, if I had to guess, I would say it was about half grading in PSA submissions, and about half is eBay, collectors. You're talking about the investors and the big money, and then you're talking about collectors. I think that the hobby can have both, and it's just a matter of the internet. Everybody wants to tweet and complain about this or that. That I don't even do social media, so I really don't care.
It's true. I tried to look you up. It was ghost accounts. There were you almost as a point of principle. I love it, Jack. You're off the grid.
Smart, Jack. Because so Andrew what do you spend call you 48 times, and then he would try to tweet you. So it's smart that you don't have.
So how do you?
Let me turn my phone off. Just a second. Oh, it's off.
So how do you spend your day? Like, when other people are spending hours and hours on Instagram searching for their favorite cards.
Well, first of all, I have 4 kids, so that's a lot. I'm the only parent, so I have to do that. I have 4 little girls. Well, one's not so little. She's 22 and going to law school.
Wow. But, girl dad.
I am, yeah. And she's actually, her and her 17-year-old sister, who's going to go to UCI next year. Oh, and hopefully she'll graduate too, unlike her poor father. They're in charge of my social media. So I put them in charge when Gerald Wavell did a tweet about the card saver like 3 or 4 months ago. And I didn't know why my phone was blowing up. And so they figured it out, and they became vice president of Cardboard Gold in charge of social media. But about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I gave up on it, I fired them. So I have no employees except for warehouse workers now. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Well, I kind of am, but it didn't pay that well, so don't get too excited.
What did Darren say? Was it good or was it bad? Or did he give you
like the card saver's the new toilet paper, which it was at the time. And this is in November or like October, and I thought it was gonna be over by then. I mean, this started in May, and then I told everybody on December nobody's gonna care about the card saver or top loaders or sleeves, and now. Right now, you guys, it is crazier right now than it was 6 months ago or 4 months ago. When I put in a purchase order, I don't know if this is a trade secret, but you just cut out this part of the podcast. Factory on some products quotes May, and I'm not talking May 2021. I'm talking May 2022.
Wow. So Jack, talk me through that, right? Because obviously I understood the shortage of stuff a year ago because there's a shortage of almost everything. And, the excuse was all these things are made in China, China shut down, no one wants any products from China and blah, blah, blah. And I understand the grading, boom. But are you telling me now that it's even harder to keep this stuff in stock than it was 6 months ago because people are grading more, people are buying more? The card hobby is even significantly hotter than it was 6 months ago?
So Matt, see this pack of card savers?
Yep.
That's my inventory right now. Trading card holders. My warehouse has nothing in it.
Wow.
The second they come in, sell out in 15 minutes and we're done. We ship out 8,000 packages and then we wait.
Wow.
And I've got a container on Monday. Oh, we're delayed on card savers. They just found my container at the port. It took them 8 days to find the container. It took them 2 days to make it to where a crane can get it. And then it's going to take 2 more days to get it onto a truck and get it to my warehouse.
I think it's a cool way to go because I wanted to talk a little bit about the logistics. So the Suez Canal, right? There was the ship that was blocking the Suez Canal. And we over here in America, sometimes we don't realize all of the steps that it takes to get your product from point A to point B. And that was a big deal. So there's like upwards of $300 million lost for delays because of that. And then on top of that, it's ships pulling into ports are extremely delayed. They have to sometimes wait for upwards of a week to actually port and unload. What is the issue? What has happened? What has caused this? Like, I'm curious. Was it COVID? Was it a culmination of things? What are you seeing in the logistics world?
What I'm seeing is it's every product. Remember that most of our stuff, including iPhones and TVs and other stuff, is made in China. Even though everybody wants to bash China, we are intertwined with them forever. Apple's not going to start making their iPhones in Arizona. They're going to be made at Foxconn. Card savers are going to continue to be made at my factory in Guangdong. This is just the way the world works. Right now, it's 2 to 3 weeks to get the ship into Long Beach, LA Harbor. Forget about getting it unloaded. Forget about getting it to your warehouse. It's 3-week delay right now. I went out to dinner on Friday night in Newport Beach. Well, Newport's way far south from LA and Long Beach. There were 15, 20 container ships off the coast at anchor waiting to be able to get in just to anchor off of Long Beach. That's how crazy it is.
Well, why not build in Mexico? Why not manufacture in Mexico?
Oh, Beckett tried that recently. They made some card holders. I'll leave it at that.
Quality. I've been living in Mexico for the last year and a half, and quality. I would agree.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story and then ask a question. So last year when COVID hit, everyone started working from home. Students were working from home. My sister, she's 10 years younger than me. And, we were starting to think of ideas. How do we make a little bit of income on the side, right? I was flipping cards, and I remember how much I enjoyed and how much I learned from the process of making money on my own. And I said, Ariel, you're 21, you have you want some disposable income. Why don't we start looking into buying card supplies in bulk and breaking them down and selling them on eBay? So we started a company called Rose Gold. Okay, she's 21, and it was good to make a little money, but it was a side project. I think one of the greatest gifts you could give someone is the feeling of self-sufficiency, to be able to kind of stand on your own 2 feet and be able to make money. And I don't believe that we teach our kids that in college. So I wanted to do that as a project with my sister. So we started doing that. We created a supply company called Rose Gold, only purchasing from cardboard gold supplies, buy them in bulk and break them down. It was so valuable. It taught her so much. And now she does the same concept with Lululemon clothes, okay, which is a little bit more her niche. How do you, as the owner of Cardboard Gold, look at flippers like us, people that buy the product, have it sell out, and then resell it for a margin on top of that?
That's a good question, and that's dicey for me because I have an exclusive distributor that distributes my products on eBay and Amazon. That we have a deal, and but I mean, I'm very capitalist, entrepreneurial. That's all I've ever known. I've never worked for anybody. All I've ever done is sell card supplies. And so, you know, I realized that selling stuff on eBay is the American way, which is great. The problem is now that for me, I have to get my products as fast as possible into the hands of the eBayers and the PSA dealers in order to get that product out so they can get their cards to their customers. And I take that seriously, whether it's a Card Saver One or if it's a top loader or whatever it is. And that's why my customers like me, like Cardboard Gold, is because we look, there's no backdoor deals. I don't sell on eBay myself. What you see is what you get. Most of my 2/3 of my product goes onto my website and goes straight to my customers. The other goes to my distributor. And, you know, do you know how many emails I get a day now? Hi, I'm XYZ company. We're on Amazon. We want to distribute your product on Amazon. And so now I have it on my computer. I just grab it real quick and it says, we are not adding distributors at this time. That's it.
Well, why would you need distribution if your product sells out? Like, a distributor just takes a VIG, but adds minimal to no value.
Well, every once in a while I click on them and see who they are. And you'd be surprised what they sell. They sell pills. They sell lawn furniture. They sell computer accessories. And all of a sudden they want the Card Saver One. Big surprise, right, gentlemen?
There's arbitrage there.
Yeah.
And Cage, to answer your question, what I've noticed I've had listings up for a long time. I've had listing on Facebook Marketplace since last year. This last few weeks, people are buzzing for cardboard card savers. Like, people are paying a premium right now for some reason. So even though PSA stopped accepting submissions, I think people are actually prepping cards now in these next month, 2 months, 3 months to actually send them to PSA.
That's what we're expecting. That's what I'm expecting. And we sold out our last load in 3 minutes. And I have not got one cancellation because my container is delayed. I've got a waiting list. I mean, if I would give you another 5 cases, everybody only got one.
Yep.
Everybody would take it, right? And
100%.
I'm not going to have more for probably 2 months. And what's going to be in 2 months? PSA is going to be taking submissions again, and people are going to be losing their mind again.
So Jack, how are you preparing? You know, your business is doing extremely well in 2021, 2020, but what's 2022 look like? How do you prepare for the future? What do you look for? Is it just same thing, or?
Well, we're doing products right now for PSA. In fact, if you have submitted a card to PSA and you're getting your slab back now, and it's got it's made out of OPP, but it's a really, really clear sleeve over the slab that stops it from getting dust or scratch or anything like that. That's from me. And I probably shouldn't say it. I gave those to PSA. I didn't even sell them to them because they're doing a test. And I won't say the quantity, but there's a lot of slabs that some poor guy or gal there's got to put the damn holder into the sleeve and then box it up and get it out to their customer. But so we're doing that. We're doing there's other new products that we're bringing out. The sleeves for all the top loaders and stuff has been huge. There's like, everybody's going crazy on that because of all the breakers. Breakers are a huge business for us. And I'd ask you guys, when is breaking gonna slow down? It's insane. I
have an answer, but it's my own opinion. I have an answer. It's my own opinion. I mean, everybody's a gambler, so it probably won't slow down. But you know, depending on what the product it is, with a delay like this, you know, we're lucky it's Prism because people will open Prism today, and for the next week, it doesn't make a difference. We'll always open that. But the next release that comes out, if it's not Prism, if it's something lower, and you can't do anything with it, you can't send it in, you don't know what the price is going to be. If I'm, you know, Joe Blow, I'm an average collector that's not in this for thousands upon thousands of dollars, and it's just, hey, do I open this box? Do I break this box? I would for the first time in 3 years, I would think twice about it because I don't know what I'm going to do with those middle of the road $20, $25, $30 rookie cards that came out of it. It used to be you knew what you were doing with those. You were putting them in a penny sleeve, you were throwing them in a cardboard gold card saver, and you were sending them to get graded at PSA. But now you can't do that. So
at the value level.
And who knows when they open up what they're going to be pricing it at, what kind of level.
They have it up by July. It'll be back to normal July 1st.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know the pricing and the whole deal, and I mean,
I don't know what Prism is, so
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing to think about that, but good for you, right?
Cage is right about this, and he's brought this up consistently. I want to make sure we bring this up here. He feels that the hobby's leaving the little guy out. The hobby was built on the little guy, and now a lot of the moves that are happening, there's no way for the little guy to win. Cage, you could word it however you want, but that's the general thesis, right?
Yeah, well, Jack's not the right person for it because he doesn't even what Prism is, which, by the way, God bless you, Jack, because that's an amazing thing, right? Because it shows you that you can be involved in a business like this and have your business be almost dependent upon it's a cardboard gold, right? It is based on the cards, and the cards are the cards. I'm selling the supplies, and I don't need to know what cards going in it. I don't even know who's buying it. I just know that when I put it out there, it is sold, and that's great. That's a great.
Remember, I haven't brought this up. I am the only one that's used the same factory that I know of for the last 30 years. Same owner, same factory. They're just a little bit bigger now than they were back then.
Well, I'll give a personal spin on that, right? And it's, I don't like to disparage anybody, but about a month ago, I was doing a break of cards as well, for our Luka Nation. And I used semi-rigid to send the cards out. I went to my LCS and I asked him, hey, you ever going to get in, cardboard gold? And he's like, no, I can't get those. It's impossible. I'm just a little shop. I'm a hole in the wall. But the last time I went there about a month ago, he had semi-rigids and penny sleeves and all kinds of stuff. And they were all Beckett brand. All right. So I bought some of these. I think it was like $6 for a pack of 100 of the Beckett brand. Yeah, you got it right there. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And so I open up. I open up the sleeve. And this is, I'm telling the truth here. So, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not being paid for this, but half of them I put the card in, and we were talking, it's not like a thick card. I was putting 1991 Marvel cards in, Impel, Marvel, they're just regular, like white, card stock cards, nothing thick, nothing crazy. And half of them broke. Like I put it in, and the front piece of plastic peeled off of the back piece of plastic. I'm like, well, I can't use this. I put it in, it ripped off, or the sides ripped down the side. And I'm like, all right, well, no baloney. I guess you get what you pay for. So
Mexico's really small right there. Really
Hecho. They say hecho in Mexico. Hecho.
And my daughter's in Cabo right now. I can't put down Mexico.
Mexican culture and people are amazing. When it comes to more sophisticated work, it seems that they've had some issues. But Cage, finish the story. In a few days, in the mail, you received a heavy package from Andrew Goldberg. What was inside of that package?
Because we were doing breaks, and I'm like, what am I going to use to send these things out? And the box was, I was like, what is this? It was like a ton. Like, what is this? And it was filled with cardboard gold products. Penny sleeves, top loaders.
Your package right there.
And I'm like, all right, there we go. And you know what's funny about it is I use them to pack stuff up. And we had a guest on. Who was? I don't even remember who it was. Someone who was in that break was a guest on.
Mm-hmm.
And we were working with him, doing like video post-production, right? Was it Marcus? Yes, we took to Marcus afterwards. And he's like, let me tell you something. I got the cards you sent. Talk about some really good shipping. You're old school. Like you pack these up with real good products, so, I mean, people actually notice it, I guess. I couldn't send the cards out on the first thing. It was literally like falling apart in my hands. I thought I was smart. I'm going to buy some cheap stuff. Nope.
It's going to get worse too, because it's coming out of the woodwork. So.
Well, I think one of my loves for cardboard gold is my name is Goldberg. So there's a kinship there. But convenient. You know what strikes me about you as an entrepreneur? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but tell me if this is the right way to think about it. In NASCAR, when there's a crash, the NASCAR drivers are taught to drive straight through the smoke, not to look right, not to look left, because that's where your car will go straight. You're not on social media. You don't collect cards. You're just focused on executing your day-to-day business.
I'm obsessed with
It's very easy to be distracted in today's world. It's very easy to be distracted.
Here's what I want to know, and I'm not trying to piss Jack off, right? So that's great. You know, you got this drop, and then you got to wait 2 months for the next one. What are you doing? You playing some pinochle? You're like, what are you doing in 2 months, man?
I have 3 containers wet right now.
Oh,
you know what that means, right?
Yep.
No clue.
So a wet container means it's on the water. And when it's on the water, we have an ETA, until they lose it for a little while. But yeah, that 3 containers is good. And there'll be a 4th on the water here in about 4 or 5 days. So I've got a lot of product coming in. The thing is, you guys, and you know better than I, is just demand is off the charts. So when you guys start bringing up, the guys in the hobby, especially kids, if you're like getting into it now and you're 14, 15 years old, you're having to pay a lot more for your cards. So obviously the supplies are higher because they're in such demand. But I think things will calm down a little bit, in the next couple of 2-3 years. You can't have card values going up exponentially every month. So, but you can have a game plan where things go, continue to improve, but aren't just absolutely insane, kind of like the NASDAQ was in 2000. Actually,
makes sense
that way right now. So whatever.
I mean, I've been doing a little bit of day trading in equities.
Jack of all trades.
Well,
you left the word out, Jack. I call him, he's the jackass of all trades. You forgot a word.
That makes me nervous because I also, a jack of all trades, but a specialist of none. So I want to make sure, and I'm cognizant of that. But because we do a daily,
an ace, a jack is a jack of all trades. Jack is in the card. So jack of all trades, an ace of none. You sound like Biff Tannen. You're like, hey, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? That's about as stupid as a screen door on a battleship. It's a submarine. Say it right. Get it right, Biff. That's Jack, do you know what movie this is from? Do you know what movie I'm quoting here?
I'm getting close.
It's Back to the Future. No one ever knows my movies. Go ahead,
our audience knows your movies. I just don't. We're different generations.
Museum for me because my kids.
No, but why I chose to go that route, to learn that, because a lot of sports cards is day trading, right? And there's a lot of overlap between. You don't see that, but there is. And there's new platforms like Top Shot and Star Stock and Dibs and all these new startups where people are able to trade on a daily basis. But the point is, I wanted to learn the principles that make a successful trader in stocks and see if I could share some of those principles for our audience so that they could implement them. One being profit taking. We don't profit take in this hobby. A lot of people are sitting on, cards that have 5-10x. And then they drop and regress this month. And then everyone on Instagram is complaining like the hobby's crumbling. Oh my God, how have prices fallen so much? But we don't even talk about profit taking. We don't talk about profit taking and then reinvesting. So I wanted to take the course and learn day trading so I could help our audience be successful in the hobby, short term and long.
Well, I think a lot of that, that's not my forte, but it's because we're watching sports in real time, then everybody's on Instagram and Twitter in real time. That guy's card value is going up every time he makes a 3-pointer or misses a 3-pointer. It's just different now, you guys. And I know that. I got Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson jerseys staring at me. That's my only 2 collectibles. And, I think those are probably 2 of the best. So
Los Angeles.
You don't follow. Go ahead. Los Angeles
Kobe?
Lakers? Kobe? No Kobe. Magic.
No, I love Kobe, but Jordan and Magic.
Different age, different time. I got a question for you, Jack. It might be, because you don't know Prism, you don't know this stuff, right? And you seem to be very laser focused about delivering your product, best in class product, getting it out there, getting it to people, and making sure that it's in the hands of who needs to have it. And that's great. It's admirable. It is, it's a good business lesson. My question is, and you may say, Matt, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, and that's fine. If I were you, and I'm a worrier, I'm a worrywart. The things on the horizon that would worry me would be a potential down tick in cards. But you've told me, okay, don't even think about that. We're hotter now than we ever were. Okay, that's fine. The other 2 would be both in the same category of a switch in trend of how people are spending their money in the collectible hobby. And what I mean by that are alternate platforms for cards, for physical cards, like a Star Stock, who I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but basically they take cards in, they warehouse them, and they allow people to trade the cards in ungraded form. So they have them, they keep them, you send them in one time, it's not going to be resold in a different plastic, it's not going to need additional, cardboard gold, top loader, semi-rigid, you name it, it's there.
That smells bad to me. That's just asking for fraud right there.
Possibly. And then the second one would be the non-tangible assets, the NFTs, which I'm sure, unless you're living under a rock, you've heard someone say NFT, you don't know what it means. Who knows? I barely know what it means. But something like Top Shot that Andrew mentioned, where instead of collecting physical assets and cards, people have started putting some disposable income into these digital assets. If it were me, if it were my business, those two things, the potential for just, the cards being warehoused and people trading those cards without actually moving the physical asset, and or people spending their collectible, budgets on non-physical assets would keep me up. Does anything keep you up, Jack?
I worry all the time, but I started when I was so young. I saved all my money.
I love it.
I don't collect anything. I spent a little bit of money on wine. I got 4 kids in private school and going to college, but that's about it.
Wine you drink or wine you keep?
Which?
Wine you keep or wine are you collecting wine, or you're storing wine, or you're drinking the wine?
Oh no, I drink it. I don't collect it. No way.
I love it. Not even like a Burgundy,
I'm an Argentina. Right? I'm an Argentina Merlot guy. I really love Argentinian vibes.
I'm in my
30s.
I'm Chardonnay. I got a case of Rombauer Chardonnay delivering tomorrow, so it's all good.
See, the Chardonnay, grab a Latache.
So Jack,
you're $2,000. It's a good drink though.
Okay.
You're the all-American story. You invested in yourself and your business and in your kids and your family.
True. Yeah.
I love Jack. Jack, you're my new best friend. It's amazing. He drops out of school.
You gotta go to dinner and drink some wine and that crazy drink you just brought up.
I will bring a bottle. I'll bring a bottle. I'm a red guy.
Where are you guys anyway? Where are you physically?
So Andrew can't actually say where he is because the federales will knock his door in. But he's somewhere in Mexico. It's an undisclosed location in Mexico.
Wait, is that an FBI badge back there?
He's what I like to call the witless protection program. And I'm in New York.
Wow.
I'm in New York. But wine, man, California fruit bombs. I like the big, bold California high alcoholic cabs. And I take a red, Burgundy from France. That's what I'll do. A little, DRC.
Famous special selection right now.
All right, Camus. That's a nice one. That's a nice bottle. Jack, we love spending time with you, man, because listen, it's funny because you start off with, I'm dropping out of college, which by the way, our entire audience loved because they all want to drop out of college, right?
Really
then
do.
you get into
some dad's going to send me a nasty email.
No way. But then the more important lesson is the laser focus, man. It's you found a lane and you stayed in that lane and you became the best at it. And when you focus on being the best in class, not cutting corners on quality, and basically just making sure that you are doing everything you can for your customer to get what you're promising and you're delivering on those promises, you can build a successful business. That's what I learned from Jack today.
And I'll say something to your younger guys, 18, 19, watching this. Do not take yourself too seriously. Do not become some egomaniac because you'll be brought down real fast. It's a journey. It's not a destination doing this. In whatever business you're in, that's key. I know that sounds cliche, but I almost said the F word.
It's very important because, we've talked to a few millionaires really that literally have $1 million collection in cards. And it would be hard if I had that money at 18 and 19 to not feel myself, to not have a big ego. But you're absolutely right. And I hope that our Luka Nation goes back, listens to that, and takes that to heart. Because this is a multimillionaire. This is someone whose business is growing. This is no joke. This is someone who has 20 years experience, and I would listen to that advice.
This is our 36th year.
Wow.
Selling supplies. Yep. And under the same brand name. So.
Well, I remember buying it on Amazon for probably cheaper than you sell it direct now. We're talking only a couple years ago. Just right on Amazon. There you go. Buy it. And then it was like as many as you wanted. 2017, 2018.
Or TBA. so that Andrew doesn't put them on eBay.
That's it.
Sorry.
So a nice arbitrage for you guys. Some people do sealed wax and they keep the boxes sealed. Buy some sealed cardboard gold, stick it in your basement for 6 months, and it's going to double in price. The new arbitrage play.
Please buy what you need and do not max out your credit cards. I don't want those emails either from the wives or even the husbands. The wives are doing it. Who knows?
Love it. Thanks, Jack. We appreciate your time, man.
I'm going to roll. You guys be well.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thank you for taking the time, Jack. Big fan.
Problem.